We are led by fantasy and we are met with reality. That is the phrase that has been spinning around in my head lately. When I say that everything comes down to story, as I say in most of my videos now, this is what I mean. We are led by fantasy and met with reality. What does it mean to be led by fantasy? I'm going to pull it all the way back to something very basic so we can get some ground rules here at the very start. If you look at a wall and there's a big hole on the left hand side, you will see the beautiful white wall or cream wall, and there's a big hole on the left hand side. What you will miss is the scratch going around on the right hand side because you filled in the blanks. You assumed wall, saw all of it, big hole, obvious. Once someone points out or once you realise the scratch on the right hand side, you now won't be able to not see it. It will now be in your vision. You will now notice it. You will recognise this pattern anytime you have, oh, I didn't notice that. You will pick up an apple and you will take a bite and then you will notice a line on the side. It might have been there, it might have been pointing up, but it doesn't matter. You filled in the blanks because you cannot analyze every aspect of everything that you can see. You have to fill in the blanks. You have to take the shortcut because you're an intelligent person. And I don't mean intelligent in like your cognitive, in how quick you think or how quick you can problem solve. I simply mean that you make sense of the world. Every animal does this. We can go into some kind of biology here where we can say we only see a certain amount of light on the full scale spectrum of light. We only hear in a certain range of frequency within the whole range of frequency. So we only get a sliver and we make sense of everything. Try to. Okay. Let's see if we can land it a different way. Let's see if we can try and get a good grasp of this before we kind of jump ahead. If you've had a bad experience with an animal, whether that's a cat or a dog, that's kind of like the animal itself is the white wall. And then your first experience, if it's a negative experience, is going to be that big hole. And now every time you see a white wall, you're going to look for a hole. Every time you see the dog, you're going to look for the threat. Even if you've no fear of dogs, you can recognize that the potential for threat is there. It's always there. There's potential for threat in 1,000 different ways in this small room I'm in at the moment. But I don't analyze all of them. If I did, I would be catastrophizing and it would take up pretty much all my headspace for quite a few days, I'd imagine, if not just an infinite amount of time of it doesn't work. Okay, last one. I'm going to say, as we walk, we're walking, especially through a forest or through somewhere where the ground is some bit unstable, we are trusting that the ground is solid. So when we walk on a wooden floor, we are trusting that it's solid. When we are in a room, we are trusting that the foundations are solid. Are we testing that? No. We're assuming it. That's the story that's carrying us through. We are led by that story. And there has been catastrophes where the foundation, something isn't right. And if only you had gone over and knocked on the wall and found the hollow point, or if only you had done these things and checked, you would have got out of it. But you don't, because we're led by imagination and we are met with reality. Now, once we put this into social settings, once we get away from the material and we're not looking at animals, but we're looking at people and social environments, this truth, this phrase that we are led by fantasy and we are met with reality becomes an entirely different game. It's like comparing the atom bomb to a missile. They're both bombs, they both explode, they both destroy stuff, but one changed the world forever. So in social situations, the stories that we're telling ourselves are vitally important. The stories that other people are telling us about themselves, the stories that they are telling themselves about themselves, are vitally important. And so is reality. How they move, how they act, how they are presenting themselves at the moment. Are their shoulders up? Are your shoulders up? What is your body position at the moment? What is reality? Because our body holds a lot of information. Body language is massive. Now you can learn tips and tricks. So I have learned to move more slowly as I speak. But I did not have to learn to talk with my hands and to kind of offer some sort of movement, some sort of gestures to elaborate on the speech coming out of my mouth. That one I had. And tone of voice. So do I inflect my voice all the way up? Do I end every sentence with an upswing? Make it sound like a question? No, I don't do that. Because, geez, that's... No. Sorry. That's a California joke. I don't know why I'm even making it. But we can fine-tune how we present in the world. And we should, especially at the end of teenage years into your 20s, you very much should fine-tune the instrument that you are living in and make sure that you are expressing yourself in a way that feels at home to you, that that communicates the right information, that allows you to connect. And also you should learn the body language stuff simply so you can read other people's body language. You can understand when someone's uncomfortable or when someone's engaged when you're speaking, so you know when to further the conversation and go further deeper into whatever you're talking about, or when to pull back. And there are 1,000 different nuances after that. When do they light up? When do they respond? When do they shift? And all of this stuff. Yes, you can, and half of it's pseudoscience. But our intuition's actually really good at picking up small signals. I'm not going to get into all of that. Intuition is flawed. It is an information. It is a source of information, but don't trust it blindly either. But don't ignore it blindly. That's where I'm going to hold that one for the moment until another video. Coming back to storytelling. The story we tell is everything. It's what leads us. It's what carries us. It is what makes us move. Otherwise, we wouldn't move. Why did you get up in the morning? Because I had to. Because this would happen and this would happen and this wouldn't happen if I didn't get up and da 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 da. Now we're telling a story. Instantly. Like, that's what I want you to reduce story to. And then understand that those building blocks all build up into what we understand our life as, what we understand our connections as, what we understand our purpose or our meaning in our environment, within our connections in the world writ large. It all comes down to story. So, this phrase that we are led by fantasy and we are met with reality. I've been letting that sink deeper and deeper, and it is absurd. It is painful. It seems to be true. It seems to be something unavoidable. It's impossible to perceive reality directly. You can only perceive... Reality hits you. Now you can fine tune your wisdom and you can fine tune your navigation skills so that you can, ride the waves and work with reality as best as you understand it and as best as you can understand it. But reality is always bigger. There will always be that scratch that you do not see. There will be these things that you take for granted, that you assume because you have to. And reality will let you know when it's wrong, when you're wrong. And that's what it is. To be alive. So that phrase has just offered me a little bit of comfort. It has allowed me to emphasize the stories that I'm telling myself and also value the stories that I'm telling other people. So the communication, important. That's the thing that connects us. That's the thing that helps us navigate each other's reality. Because otherwise we just get smacked with each other's reality, and that's just painful and awful and just no. And also it is something about the self. It is how to motivate, how to move oneself, understanding that oneself will be wrong and will get hit with reality, and that perfect bliss nirvana where everything just works out and there is no hardship and there is no needing for course correction or learning, or reality won't strike you with something abrupt and harsh and blunt and perhaps brutal and all of these hard things that are part of the human condition, part of the human story. That place doesn't exist. The condition is that we are led by fantasy and met with reality, and that is okay. And that we have to flow with that. We have to value the story that we tell ourselves and that we tell other people. And as reality hits us, as reality strikes, that we adapt and we maneuver and we understand that is an inevitable part of living. So, maybe no new ground here today, but that terminology, that phrase, has stuck with me. So I said I would offer it to you this week, and we'll see in a few weeks, in a month, whatever, whether it still sticks with you, whether it digs up anything or shuffles things around, or is just a pivot point to kind of circle around something interesting. Who knows? So that's this week. That's my offering to you this week, and I hope it serves you. So I hope you've had a good week. I hope you are looking forward to the week to come. Thank you for your time and attention, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.